Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's good to be back on YouTube, but we got some exciting news, y'all. I know y'all seen the news from EA Sports talking about that they will bring back college football, and I don't know about y'all, but that's exciting to me. So, we just gonna talk about today the wish list, because I think everybody is hoping that the game is a certain type way and not basically a copy of Madden, the new Maddens anyway. Well, the past couple Maddens anyway. I feel like that's a big thing in this community. The NCAA football community online, on YouTube, I think is very big, and I think that we need to have say so. And I've heard that there's going to be some say so. I'm not saying that I'm a big time YouTuber or anything like that, but the big time guys in this YouTube stuff, college football revamped as well, they should have some say so in this game. I think that'll be big time. I think that'll be major for the development of this game. So what this episode today going to be about is just the NCAA football wish list. Without some things that I like, some things that I've heard, and that hope are in the game. While I'm doing it, I will be playing a game. On my game, I've done some tweaking to the revamped roster. Basically, by tweaking, meaning, at Unison, we know a lot of people, especially in DC and Baltimore. So, basically, if I know you in real life, I edited you how I wanted you to be. I might have changed your number, gave you a great overall, made you look sweet. That's just what I do. That's what I really do. I really don't care. Like, for instance, I know, Levante Gator, a good friend of mine. Me and Latez Rogers actually played together. Dante Demas, DC guy, I know him, and Raheem Jarrett. I don't really know him for real, but he played at St. John, so it is what it is. Me and what's the running back? Jake Funk. We actually had a award ceremony together, so I did a little tweaking to him as well. But for Gator, I just want to change one little thing before we get into the wish list. But I feel like this is a very exciting time right now, and I hope everybody enjoys what's going on. So the first thing that was on my wish list is having NCAA football 14 mechanics, but with the modern Madden graphics. So a lot of people say NCAA is one of the best football games of all time. NCAA 14, I'm sorry, which I can basically agree with. But we can't lie. We can't act like this game isn't outdated by far. The graphics alone, are totally different, things of that nature. But we also can say that we aren't a fan of, let's say, Madden's gameplay. But the graphics are fine for Madden. So I believe, a mixture of those two would be great. As just a regular game. I think that's a great mixture overall. I just think NCAA was just a better overall game. Still to this day, I think that. And I think that it should have been more. I think that it should have never stopped as far as I'm sorry, not stopped. I think the gameplay should have been crossed over to Madden. Yeah, I think Madden should have took over what NCAA does, because obviously it works so good and everybody likes it. Second thing that I think we missing are customized stadiums, uniforms, and create a team. Now I understand, yes, we do have the team builder aspect, but that was only, you had to do it separately from the game. You had to do that online. I believe that it should have been in the game. But I know the earlier NCAA's, I'm not sure if they were on the P3 version, but I know on P2 for sure, they definitely had the create a team aspect, because I definitely used to create a team all the time and put them in DC. I believe that we need to bring that back. And I'm not saying the team builder is bad, because I love team builder as well. But, this day and age is so much different. Like, look how 2K is, how much you're able to do like that. If you can do it just like 2K, I can upload, logos and things of that nature. That would be great. That would be one of the, best games, especially football overall. I think that also each stadium should have its own unique trait. Like Penn State has whiteouts as far as the game. I think Iowa does the black and gold sections. I think that you should be able to create your own thing, especially if you create your own school because you want your own traditions and things like that. I also think that a part of that, like Ohio State has the Buckeyes they put on their helmets. I believe that you should be able to create your own traditions for your school like that as well. Um, Maybe with traditions you should be able to do like little signature things. And by signature things, I mean you know how you have the Gator Chomp that they do. Um, Texas has the Hook 'em. I think they should give you probably like 100. What is it, a gesture basically? 100 gestures that you could pick from and give to your school. I mean, that would go a long way in trying to brand and things like that. Especially talking about college. That's one of the biggest things. The next thing on my list is have all the FCS teams. We need to it's all Division One. If we can do that, that would be great. And then also you're adding HBCUs, which is great. I am an advocate for HBCUs. I am a graduate of a HBCU, so I think it'll be great to do that. Especially like you talking about Jackson State now with Deion Sanders. They gonna be good, and the question is gonna be always how good can they be. So when you're doing it, I would love to play with Jackson State against Mississippi, Ole Miss, or whatever. And matter of fact, and I just thought of what you can do is have it where you can have the FCS dynasty and you can have an FBS dynasty. So let's say, for instance, I should be able to take Jackson State out of the FCS. So let's say I go on as Coach Prime, and we win the FCS playoffs. And that's another thing. Have to have the FCS playoffs as well as the FBS playoffs. But with the college football players, whatever. But I should be able to take Jackson State and make them basically FBS now. I feel like, I did my challenge. I think that would be great as far as the dynasty mode, especially. And also, if you do the FCS mode, talking about Road to Glory, you'll be able to go to be able to pick HBCUs as well. I think that would be big time. I think especially for the black community, I think that would work out great, and I think it will be perceived well as well. Next, I think you should be able to create and delete conferences. Some of these conferences I don't even pay attention to. Like, don't get me wrong, it's football, but I don't even think of some of the conferences for real. Like, the AAC and things like that. Maybe I should be able to change the conference names. Maybe I don't want to be in the SEC no more. Like, let me change to what I want it to be. Like I said, also should be able to delete conferences. Being able to change conferences, teams in their conference is good, but I think it should be a little more than that. I think teams should also be able to join conferences better or worse. Like, I think it should be able to switch out. But basically now it's cool how it is, but it just needs to be more in depth. I think that it needs to be a real college game day segment. I'm not sure, like I don't remember, but I think it needs to be more pronounced. It should be more profound. When you have number one versus number two playing each other, and you notice obviously college game day, I think that it should be a big deal. I feel like somebody should be represented or something like that. I also think you should get more points for it. Just making the game realistic, the things that we see online. On TV. Also should have more networks and more stations on. I think that would be big time as well. As far as the stations like ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, and the commentators to go with them, of course. ESPN, like, don't give us these fluke stations. Don't do no fluke stuff. Like, let's get it right. The next thing, you should be able to recruit transfers, grad students, and walk-ons. That's one thing that I always was confused on during the dynasty, when like you would have a player transfer out and they would go to another school. I always wonder, like, why can't I recruit somebody that transferred? Or like, the grad students, especially now in the days of the transfer portal and grad students and things like that. I think it's heavily important to be able to do that. Next, I think you should be able to actually grow a team and fan base. Meaning, like, if you play for a low group of 5 team, over time you can expand the stadium, update facilities to accommodate, your fan base. I think that would be perfect. especially when you talk about the HBCU aspect. A lot of these HBCU stadiums, like let's say Howard, for instance, it's not up to par with like Alabama. But let's say you build Howard program up, and now it's one of the best in the country. Shouldn't they get more money? And when the more money is going to keep going to the facilities and programs and things like that. I think it should be like a AD mode as well. Like as far, and that would be like the GM 2K, where it's like you can hire and fire your coaches and about the revenue and the facilities, things like that. Talking about the picking uniforms. I think that would be an interesting thing on there. It's not a game or like a mini game, but it's like it's just another add on to it that I think can help out. You can start at the small school as well. Like everybody wants to. A lot of people want to start as the underdog and then work their way up. I think that would be fun. More in-depth recruiting would be big time too. When you do your recruiting things, it shouldn't just be, oh, let's click the X button. It's gonna show me, yeah, he runs a 4.4 and he benches this. No, I think it should be, a season worth, of recruiting. Like, let me send a scout to his game and actually evaluate. And it's like, I might pick up a gym. Like I'm going to a game for the receiver, but I actually like this tight end. He's actually having a good game. Let me recruit him as well. That would be perfect. Another thing that can come along with it is real visits. Real reasons. Like if a player says that he wants to go to school for these uniforms, and like his number one is Texas, but I'm at Oregon. I obviously have better uniforms. I think that should be printed. That should be in the game where it's like, oh, look at my uniform. Like it should be a pitch. That's what I want to say. The pictures. I think that the pictures should be realistic. And if it's like if he's looking at three schools and he has his top three needs and I fit two of the three more than anybody else, why isn't he coming to my school? And vice versa, he shouldn't go to my school if I don't fit. What's going on as well. I think that'd be big. Also, when you talk about recruiting, we should have real recruiting classes. And I'm not saying they have to pay high school players or anything like that. But what they should be able to do is the same way how we can share rosters, we should be able to share recruiting classes. That would be great. It's a lot of people now who are making the exact recruiting class that's coming out. That's fun for the game. That it helps the game as far as longevity of playing the same game over and over and over. And then same thing with when you're done, with your dynasty, I should be able to take my recruiting class and take them into Madden. That's perfect. It also helps with people buying Madden as well. I remember I used to, I had a lot of free time. So what I would do is I would have like 10 team builder teams that I would find throughout, the team builder community I liked. That was big time programs. Most of the time it was high schools and stuff like that. Or just, whatever. And I would create teams on the game. So I might take over Merlin team and make them a youth team that I played against or whatever. So when it's time for the draft, the whole draft is 99s. Like I remember I had one draft where basically everybody who got drafted was basically like just was a created player. So when they get into the NFL, it was literally 2 years later. It was like they took over the NFL, and it was like, wow, like it was fun to play in. But I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but it would be fun to, keep the tradition going of the draft class and things like that. Speaking of that, Road to Glory. When you talk about bringing it over, Road to Glory has to be able to come over from NCAA, well, college football to Madden. Like that was a selling point as well that we need. That's one of the reasons I played Road to Glory. And it will also help out with that terrible Madden superstar and whatever the face of the franchise is terrible. The cutscenes, everything is terrible. If they do this, it will make it so much better, so much easier. And speaking of Road to Glory has to be better, especially for defensive players. It's really not that fun to play defense on Road to Glory, in my opinion. That's why even we see most people who do Road to Glories on YouTube, they're doing offensive players. Defensive players just, it's like you're not being tested enough. Then you don't get points for special teams. So it's like you could be the best returner in the league. I mean, in the country, and you don't even get points for it. I also think Road to Glory just need to be more in depth as well. Like I remember the old Road to Glory where you had to go to class. Not just it was two different Road to Glories. One or Heisman watch person. I forgot they changed it like twice. One of them was you had to pick between weight room and school, so you would just or practice. So you would pick: do I want to go to practice and learn the plays? Do I want to go to the weight room and get stronger? Or do I want to go to school and maintain my GPA? That one was okay, but the best one was when you had to go to class. So when you go to class, they're asking you questions. Like you might have 5 questions or 10 question test every time you go. And you had to, that was part of your grade. And I remember one time I was a little kid where I wasn't going to class and I had under a 2.3 or 2.0, whatever is required, and I couldn't play. I was suspended. And I was the number one running back in the country. I was, Heisman first team. I mean, number one for the Heisman watch. And I was suspended for like 3 weeks because I didn't do my work. I think that's great. I also think that you should be able to, like when they ask you, do you want to go to the weight room? So you click yes. You should be able to go in the weight room, do the exercises, do the workout. Another one was good. When they give you a Nike Spark rating, you should be able to go to the combine. Those things like that. Like for my Spark rating, I should be able to go run the 40. I should be able to do the what is it? Bench press, squat, broad jump. The same things they have on NBA 2K. Why can't they put on Madden? Even though I understand, yes, one is 2K, one is EA, but it's like we're in 2021. The game will come out in 2023. We're competing with each other. Get it done. I think that's too easy to do, and I think it's like it should be in there regardless. Also, in Road to Glory, like I said, it just need to be harder. It's like once you get to a certain point in Road to Glory, it becomes very easy. It's just know how to play the game. It's knowing football. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be a challenge. And especially each year should be a challenge. It should be challenging, more storylines, more headlines that you have to meet, more expectations. It's people you can, just play the game and don't win a championship or anything and still be the best back and not get, any criticism for it. You should have to prove something, in my opinion. That should help with, playing the game as well. Another thing in Road to Glory, you should be able to transfer. Let's say if I'm at, like Alabama, for instance, a lot of people pick Alabama, and you the fourth string running back and can't get in. You can't get in, can't get any time. You can't beat out whoever is at running back. You should be able to transfer. I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. You should be able to transfer to another team, FBS, or you should be able to drop down to FCS. And who wouldn't love a come up story of the guy, he went to Alabama but it didn't work out, so he transferred to Jackson State. Now he's a senior and he's facing Alabama in the national championship. Who wouldn't love that story? And that would be great. One thing to piggyback on is when you do the creative teams and team building, you have to have total creation. Don't just let me pick the school name and have 3 fonts. No, I want total control over this. I want this to be very realistic. I want it to be like I'm actually making my team. If I don't want to choose Nike, Under Armour, I want Jordan. I want Adidas. Let me actually upload my own logos like we did before, because I will put Unison on it. And we will have a couple Unison teams on this field, and I would be perfectly fine with that. That'd be great to have. Even on helmets, logos. And then when you do the team builder teams, please, you see how the cut of the jerseys are. Please keep it, normal. Don't do it all look crazy looking where it looks like we're an off-brand team, like a JV or something. Like, I hate that. That's a pet peeve of mine. Another thing I think they should bring back is mini games. I think the mini games are fun for especially like kids. I have like younger nephews where I would like they want to play. I put on the mini games. I remember they had the bowling at one point. Keep the mascot stuff. That was what cool for them. I think the mini games as well that like Madden used to have were good. You know, it was sort of like a skills challenge, but it felt like a mini game more like being able to throw the ball and get it in the zones. They should also make it like the skills challenge. You know, how many times you gonna live? They should put a dodgeball on here with a football. That might be fun. Um, Things like that. Maybe even a moss game. You know, things like that where it's just something else to do. Now, also remember that NCAA had Ultimate Team, but Ultimate Team in 2013 is not the same Ultimate Team right now. Ultimate Team right now is one of the leading cash cows. Please do not microtransaction us to death. Please do not make everything you have to pay for and all this. That would be crazy, and you're gonna lose your core fan base. Not saying that you can't have some microtransactions, but the whole game can't be microtransactions. Like if Oregon breaks out a uniform in third week, I should be able to just download that uniform. I shouldn't have to pay for it. I find that crazy. I think that's going to be key. Don't make the game, even though microtransactions are taking over, don't make that a focus, especially year one. Get your fans back first, especially like I know that's gonna be hard to say, but as far as don't make like a focus, but get your fans back first. I think the fans are key for this one because we kept this alive for years. Like people always say, why do you have your PlayStation 3? Why you still have the PS3? I only play NCAA on it. That's the only reason I have this PlayStation 3. The only reason. And I think that we didn't let it die, and that's why it's actually coming back. A lot of us never thought it might, but it is, and we here. And I just don't want it messed up because I'm telling you, if y'all mess this up, it'll be a disappointment. I also think that it's not like they said it's going to come out in a couple of years. I think some people anticipate, it's going to be ready in August. No, I knew it was not going to be ready in August. I remember they said it takes like a whole year to make a game anyway, and that's when you're prepared to make it. I'm not saying they haven't thought about it already, but I doubt that they're prepared. So NCAA 14 came out in 2013, probably in July, I think. So I'm assuming that this one's going to come out in 2023 in July to make it like a 10-year anniversary thing. And they probably do like on the cover all the Heismans that we missed. With Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Burrow, of course Devontae Smith because it's Devontae Smith. Mama boys go hard. But I just feel like that's probably what they do. Another thing with that, please make the Heisman challenges better. And actually make them a challenge. Like, I don't think I should have to play a whole season of it. And I found that that was a little much. For instance, it's moments. Like, some moments. Like, for instance, Devontae Smith when he gave LSU 300 in the first half. Let me do that. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can give LSU 300 in the first half. I don't think I should have to play the whole season as Devontae Smith. That's kind of extreme. Matter of fact, I would say you should do that overall. The game, it should be so many different challenges in the game, where it's it should be almost never ending. Another thing that I think we need is we need to bring back, what are they called? Classic teams. We need classic teams. I don't know if they had it in the first place, but you need classic teams. Bring classic teams, and I feel like, not saying you need all the way back from the 40s or anything like that, but the classic teams it would do some, it actually would help YouTube. I think that you could say which Bama team is better, 2012 or 2019, or can Bama 09 beat the U02? I think those questions will be answered. Now I'm not saying you got to bring back all them uniforms. I'm not asking for that. Even though it would be cool. It would be cool. I'm not geeking for it. I think that also they should have all. I think they should basically put together like an all-star team type thing. And when I say it, I mean like it's basically the All Americans on one side. I'm on one team. And just do it like that. Have All Americans versus who I want to have them against. I think that would be interesting. I think that, matter of fact, and you could just base it off the preseason All Americans because it's already out when you put it on there. You can do all SEC versus all Big 12. Or, that would be interesting. I think that could be like a mini game thing if you want it. I don't really have that much on the wish list. If well, that was actually a lot, but just first make sure the swag is right. Like as far as Madden, as far as the swag on Madden, that needs to be on NCAA. The swag needs to stay on NCAA. When I say this, I mean we need the mouthpieces that you can see. We need the nice cleats. You know, we need all the cages, all the helmets, more gloves. Put the details matter. I think that's big time. The details matter, and don't let nobody tell you that they don't. I think that's what we sometimes get away from. But I think that is it. YouTube, catch me back on another video, and thank you everybody for tuning in today. Please visit us on our website, unisontb.com. Please follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Unison the Brand. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.